everybody, David here, and this is another Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition class tutorials breakdown, and this particular breakdown focuses on the Monk baseline class features. Now, the Monk is a very strong character in 5th edition. It is a melee-based type of character. It is a more complex type of character, meaning that you have to you're going to have to manage key points and other things depending on which monastic tradition that you choose at level 3. Now, for races, I would suggest going with something like a dex-based, maybe a wood elf would be a perfect choice because of the already higher speed that you're going to get, coupled with the innate movement speed that the monk gets. The wood elf will be able to really move anywhere on the map, or in Theater of Mind if you're playing that way. So basically any type of dexterity based race would be great. Now, the class features that you're going to get features from level 1 to level 20. You're going to get a ton. The monk gives you the most amount of class features of any other class in D&D 5e. Now, there's going to be some things that you're going to get that are going to increase with you as you level your monk, and that is going to be a proficiency bonus. As you can see here, all classes get this. This is a universal feature. It starts at level 1, you get a +2 all the way up to a +6. Then you're going to get a martial arts bonus, and this is for basically unarmed attacks, and it's going to start at 1d4, and by the later levels it's going to increase to a 1d10. Really nice. Then you're going to get your key points. Your key points is what you're going to have to manage to do special attacks, and we're going to go over every single one of those attacks in this tutorial. So lastly is your unarmored movement. Now, you have to be wearing no armor to get this benefit, but you're going to start with a +10 movement all the way up to a +30 movement on top of what you already get. So what is not to like about that? I mean, it's really crazy. So you're going to get 1d8 hit points a level for a monk. You're going to start at level 1 with max hit points, 8 plus your constitution modifier. Then every level after 1 up to level 20, you're going to get to roll a 1d8, or if your dungeon master, if he or she allows you to take the static 5, you can take that as well. And also don't forget to add your constitution modifier onto every level past 1 also. Now, the monk, they get no armor proficiencies. The only weapon proficiencies that they get are for simple weapons and the short sword. Now, for tools, you get to choose one type of artisan tool or musical instrument. And your saving throws that you would add your proficiency bonus in is strength and dexterity. And later on, there's a great class feature that is just going to expand on your saving throws. You're going to love it. Skills, you get to choose 2 from acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, and stealth. Straightforward. And lastly, you get to start with either an amount of coin, or you can literally buy your equipment out of chapter 5, I think, of the equipment part of the player's handbook. So there's a starting amount of gold that you can get, which I really recommend you taking the starting equipment here. You'll get like a weapon. You'll also get a Dungeoneer's pack or Explorer's pack. You'll get 10 darts. And also, as you choose your background, you're going to get a couple more skill proficiencies and a little bit more gear and money. So it's definitely worth taking the gear that you would be offered for your class and your background. So let's go ahead and start diving into this plethora of class features that the monks get. Wow, definitely more than any other class in the game. So level 1, you're going to get Unarmored Defense. And what Unarmored Defense does is you benefit from, first off, you have to be wearing no armor, hence the name Unarmored Defense. And while you're wearing no armor and not wielding a shield, your AC equals 10 base plus your dexterity modifier and your wisdom modifier. So that's straightforward. And if you use your ability score improvements, you can continue to raise those stats, and your armor class will just go through the roof. It will be really strong. So that's a level 1 class feature. Now, you're also going to get martial arts. And martial arts coupled with ki is pretty much your bread and butter. Now, you're going to basically, your practice of martial arts gives you mastery of combat styles that use unarmed strikes and monk weapons, which are short swords, and any simple melee weapon because you have the proficiency in simple weapons. And anything that doesn't have the two-handed weapon or heavy property. So you'll get to use this martial art on any simple or short sword. Now, you gain the following benefits while you are unarmed or wielding the monk-only weapons, simple weapons, and the short sword. So you can use your dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. That's really nice. So most of the simple weapons require strength, but there is a special property called finesse. Finesse allows you to use strength or dex. So what martial arts does is it basically gives you the finesse property on every single weapon for simple weapons and the short sword, which normally does not have, a lot of these weapons do not have the finesse. So that is a really great perk of martial arts. The next perk is you roll a d4 in place of the normal damage for your unarmed strike or monk weapon. This die changes as you gain monk levels, like we had shown on the Matrix. Starts at d4 and works its way up to a d10. Straightforward. Now when you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or monk weapon on your turn, you can make one additional unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken your bonus action for your turn. So that's straightforward, no need to explain that. Just remember, you have to have your bonus action to, take that free attack. Now, certain monstrosities use specialized forms of the monk weapons for, I'm sorry, not monstrosities, but monasteries. For example, you might use a club that is 2 lengths of wood connected by a short chain. They call it an nunchaku. Now, you could take this and you could basically, any weapon, just give it a name, whatever you want. Say if you have your short sword, you can call it a katana basically, but just make sure that you're using the stats for whatever weapon that you're mimicking. So that's sort of like a little additional rule there for you. That's martial arts. You're going to get that right off the bat at level 1. Now level 2, this is the other bread and butter of the monk, and this is ki. And this is where your training allows you to harness the mystic energy called ki. Your access to this energy is represented by a number of key points, and like we discussed on the Matrix, you get 2 or 3 key points at level 1, and it'll increase as you level up all the way down to 20, where you'll have quite a few key points. And so that's going to show you how many key points you get on the table. So you can spend these points to fuel various key features, and starting at level 2 you'll know 3. And they are called Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind. And as as you choose a monastic tradition, you'll also get more of these different attacks that you can expend ki. And also, baseline monk will give you more options later down the line, and we're going to go over all of these. So, when you spend a key point, and once you're expended all your key points, basically, you have to finish a short or long rest. At the end of which you draw all of your ki back to yourself. Now when you're doing this, you have to have all of this rest, 30 minutes of the rest must be dedicated to meditating to regain the ki. So that's, if a short rest is 1 hour, you have to be spending 30 minutes of that. The long rest is multiple hours, then you would have to have 30 minutes dedicated to get your ki back. Only 30 minutes, no big deal. So, some of your key features require your target to make a saving throw to resist basically the features of the ki effect. So, your saving throw DC is much like a cat. It's the same thing as like a wizard DC, or the cleric DC, the druid DC. So you're going to start, that DC is going to be a base of 8, and then you're going to add your proficiency bonus and your wisdom modifier. And depending on if you put points into your wisdom with ability score improvements, your ki save will go up even more, because it's going to go up already because of your baseline proficiency bonus is going to scale from 2 to 6, as we went over before. So your 3 key features that you get at level 2 are Flurry of Blows, which this is immediately after you take the attack action on your turn. You spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. 2 more unarmed strikes as a bonus action. That is crazy. And then stack that on top of multiple attack that you're going to get later. Things are going to get crazy. You're going to be a Fury of Fist. Now, also, you're going to get Patient Defense, and this is where you can spend 1 key point to take the dodge action as a bonus action on your turn. So that's really nice too. You just need to make sure you have a bonus action. And this could really work to your advantage if you're fighting a super strong creature. But if you're using key points to expend attacks and then using that bonus action to, use dodge, what dodge does is it gives the attacker on you disadvantage on attacks. So just make sure you're not going to spend too many key points. Now later on in levels, you're going to have a lot more key points. So Patient Defense will be super good for you later on. I mean, it's going to be really nice. Step of the Wind is where you spend 1 key point to take the disengage or dash action as a bonus action on your turn, and then you can also jump double the distance as you would normal during that turn. So that's pretty straightforward. It basically kind of works like a cunning action for the rogue, where you can disengage or dash. So it's really nice. But the cunning action for the rogue gives you hide, but Step of the Wind does not give you that. But it's basically still the same mechanic. But you just got to make sure you have your bonus action. So if you want to get out of there, make sure you got a little bit of movement left. Because you could really kind of screw yourself if you don't. Alright, so that's key. Everything that involves key. Also at level 2, you're going to get Unarmored Movement. Now, this is where your speed increases by 10 feet while you are not wearing any armor or wielding a shield. And like we showed on the Matrix at the very beginning of the tutorial, this will also scale up to 30 feet. And this is stacking on top of your already, on top of your speed that you're going to get depending on what race you take. So you're going to have possibly 55, 60 foot of movement, and if you choose a Wood Elf, you're even going to get more movement on top. So really look at the Wood Elf for a monk, because you'll get a lot of mobility. Now also, another perk to this unarmored movement is you'll gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the move. How Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is that? I mean, unarmored movement is so strong for level 2. It's really nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at level 3. This is where you're going to get to add more class features on top of the multitude of things you're getting already. This is where you get to choose your monastic tradition. And there's 3 different monastic traditions for the monk. One is the Way of the Open Hand, which is more martial fighting, hand-to-hand melee based. There is the Way of Shadow, which is more stealthy and sort of like a monk/rogue type of flavor to a monk. And then there's the Way of the 4 Elements, which you use all of the different elements to your advantage, sort of like a wizard would. So there's 3 different monastic traditions to choose from. And not only at level 3 you're going to get another class feature, you're going to get them at 6, 11, and 17. How cool is that? So, level 3, you're going to get Deflect Missiles. This is where you can use your reaction. Deflect Missiles is so cool. This is where you can use your reaction to deflect or catch the missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. So you have to be hit first, then you can use your reaction. So when you use your reaction, the damage you take from the attack is reduced by 1d10 plus your dex modifier plus your monk level. So you get lots of bonuses to add in there. And the cool thing is, if you reduce that damage to 0, you can then catch the missile, and if it's small enough, like a sling stone or an arrow, I'm not talking like a ballista bolt or like a boulder from an ogre. That wouldn't be possible. Just the small items. You'll be able to hold it in one hand, and that's if you have one hand that's free. And then if you catch it, you can spend a key point and basically attack and throw it back at the attacker. But that takes another reaction, but Deflect Missiles gives you a 2-for-1. So you're going to get when you get hit, your reaction is to basically get hit, and if you reduce the damage to 0, then you're going to get another bonus reaction on top of that. So you're going to get basically two actions in one, and when you make the attack, it negates all penalties, and you'll attack like it's one of your monk attacks. So you'll use all of your monk stats for attacking. How cool is Deflect Missiles? It's really nice. And it's level 3. Now, level 4, you're going to get the Monk Ability Score Improvement, just like every other class in D&D 5e. First off, Ability Score Improvements do one of two things. First off, you can adjust your ability scores. Like, you can take your dexterity from 18 to 20. You're going to get 2 points. So you spend the 2 points in one stat, or you can take the 2 points, split it up, and put 1 point in one and 1 point in another. Or if your dungeon master, if he or she allows you to go to chapter 6 in the player's handbook and go to the specialized, you could take a feat. So you can take an optional feat, but if you take the feat, you do not get to put the points into an ability score. So make sure you get your ability scores maxed out first, and then start using your last couple ability score improvements to get a couple cool feats. But like I said, that's only if your DM, if he or she allows you to take feats. So that is level 4, and you're going to get ability score improvements at level 4, level 8, level 12, level 16, and then level 19. So you're going to get a lot of points to do, a lot of points to spend. So also at level 4, you're going to get Slow Fall, and this is where you can use your reaction, as long as you have one, when you fall, to reduce any fallen damage you take by an equal amount, 5 times your monk level, basically. So that's really nice. Straightforward. No need to go over that. Next is level 5. It just keeps getting good, just keeps getting better and better every single level. Extra attack is level 5, and this is where you take the attack action. You can attack twice, basically, but just take into consideration, for your standard action, you have to use the attack action. Straightforward. A lot of the other classes get it, like the fighter, the ranger, stuff like that. Now, next is Purity of Body, and Purity of Body is at level 10. And this is where your mastery of the ki flowing through you makes you immune to disease and poison. No longer going to take any disease or poison damage unless there's some kind of special feature that says it eliminates anything that you're resistant or immune to. But it has, that attack against you would have to actually say that. So that's really nice. Purity of Body, you won't take any more disease or poison damage. Now, next is going to be, wow, this is really strong here, Tongue of the Sun and Moon. So this is level 13 class feature, and this is where you learn to touch the ki of other minds so that you understand all spoken languages. Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say. So basically, it doesn't matter what language you hear, you can understand it, and basically all spoken languages. That's really nice. Now, next, you're going to get level 14, you're going to get Diamond Soul. So, remember when I talked about you get when you start at level 1, you're proficient in strength and dexterity saving throws for the monk. Well, Diamond Soul stacks on top of that, and basically it's where your mastery of ki grants you proficiency in all saving throws. So not only now are you proficient in strength and dex, but now you're proficient in con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So every saving throw that you ever make from here on out at level 14 is going to be with proficiency bonus added. Wow, that's nice. And there's another perk on top of that. It's not like it's already awesome. It's going to get even better, because whenever you make a saving throw and you fail, you can expend one of your ki points to re-roll the roll, but if you do that, you have to take the second result. I mean, that's awesome. Diamond Soul. Next, level 15, you're going to get Timeless Body. And this is where your ki sustains you so that you suffer none of the frailty of old age, and you cannot be aged magically. You can still die of old age, however, but in addition, you no longer need food or water. So You can die, but it's just going to take you so much longer to die for your character to die. Now, the only disadvantage of that is obtaining level 15 if your character is 85 years old, and it's still going to help you. It's just going to prolong your death a little bit longer. But hey, you're not going to need any more food or water. So the younger your monk is, the better timeless body is going to work for you. So let's go ahead and go to Empty Body, which is next at level 18. And this is where you can use your action to spend 4 key points to become invisible for 1 minute. So everything that you've already got, and now you get to spend 4 key points to become invisible for 1 minute. Wow, how cool is that? And during the time that you're invisible, you're resistant to all damage types except for force damage. So piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, fire, lightning, everything except for force damage. Crazy. Now additionally, you can spend 8 key points to cast the astral projection spell without needing the massive amount of money material components that it normally requires. And when you do so, you cannot take any other creatures with you. Normally astral projection will allow you to take up to 8 people, but if you're doing astral projection with Empty Mind, then it's just you. Straightforward, no need to go into anything else. Empty Body is really strong too at level 18. Lastly, you're going to get, finally at level 20, you're going to get Perfect Self, and this is a lot stronger than a lot of the other class features that get this same mechanic. So when you're level 20, when you roll for initiative and you have no key points remaining, you'll regain 4 key points. Really nice. There's a couple other classes out there that get this same feature at level 20, but it's just named other things, where they'll only get 1 use of something back. But now, Perfect Self for the monk will give you 4 key points instead of 1. Perfect Self is really nice too. So, everybody, this is the monk. This is just baseline monk. You still get to add a monastic tradition at level 3 on top of all of this goodness that you already get. So, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment down below in the comment section. Also, if you want to try a monk, I have 840 character sheets on my website, tabletopping.net, and I have every single class, every archetype, levels 1 to 20, on really nice 3-page PDF formats. So if you want to try out a level 10 Shadow Monk, download it, take it to your game, and try it out. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next time. Good gaming, and roll some crits for me.